summoners. Matthew from the Nintendo Treehouse here with some quick tips for the Fire Emblem Heroes game. Fallen heroes have risen once more. All found their way to the darkness in different ways. One, a lust for power. One, soul ripped from her body. One, resurrected as a corrupted version of her personality. And one, had a very, very bad dragon dad. The first fallen hero we'll look at is Lumera, corrupted dragon. Once a loving mother, she has been stolen by the dark forces back into the land of the living as one of the corrupted. Although some of her original personality and her desire to spend more time with her child still remains, let's just say the intensity of her motherly instinct is a little overbearing. Fortunately, this fearsome instinct is integrated into her skill set as well. This version of Lumera is a rearmed hero with an inheritable arcane fellstone. This dragonstone increases her stats during combat, reduces damage taken from her foe's first attack, grants her a special cooldown charge of +1, and, if conditions are met, neutralizes effects that guarantee her foe's follow-up and effects that prevent her own. Her A skill, Speed Resistance Scal 4, boosts speed and resistance during combat, and if conditions are met, she can prevent her foe's special from triggering before their attack. This corrupted puppet version of Lumera also has an exclusive C skill appropriately named Corrupted Dragon that comes with the effects befitting of a mother protecting her nest. This skill applies Divine Vein Stone to a wide area after her action to protect herself and her allies. During combat, it also increases Lumera's and nearby allies' stats, neutralizes guard effects, and when her special triggers, she neutralizes her foe's damage reduction effects. Furthermore, she has Counter Roar 4 to reduce damage taken, boost counter damage, and offer some healing. And Iceberg has a special to transform her high resistance into damage when it triggers. With her kit, she will be very difficult to defeat, and like a protective mother, she can shield her team from unfriendly predators.
Yes.
Next, we have Veyle, Fell's successor. Being the daughter of the Fell Dragon isn't easy. Her daddy issues have twisted her personality into an obsessive and destructive wish to become his only successor. Veyle is strong against foes that attack from a distance and can limit the number of times her foes trigger their special attacks. Her weapon is aptly named the Fell Child's Might. If she initiates combat or her foe has a range of 2, it decreases the foe's attack and resistance stats during combat, reduces damage taken, and grants her special cooldown charge +1 per attack. If conditions are met, Veyle can attack twice. Also, this tome even has an effect that reduces damage for nearby allies by 30%. Her A skill, Crystalline Water, increases her attack and resistance at the cost of her defense, and neutralizes panic along with other penalties to her attack and resistance at the start of each phase. She also carries an exclusive C skill, Fell Successor. In addition to granting nearby allies bonuses during their combat, it also decreases foes' attack and resistance during your combat. And, if conditions are met, can inflict a special cooldown count of +1 on foes before their first attack, and an additional cooldown count on that foe before their first follow-up, if their range is 2. In addition, these cooldown count effects also apply to her allies within 2 spaces if conditions are met. She is also equipped with Attack Resistance Tempo 4 to decrease those stats on her target and further control the cooldown counts in combat, while decreasing the amount of damage that her foe can reduce. Her high resistance not only helps trigger the double attack condition of her weapon, but also ensures big damage when her own special Iceberg triggers. Enemy teams that count on specials and ranged mages will have a difficult time overcoming this evil little girl. Next up, we have Nergal. Long ago, he discovered a way to draw the quintessence from other living beings. Now he is a soulless vacuum for power that, honestly, even scares me. One wonders what horrific tragedy could push someone so far from the light. His weapon, Nergal, lowers foes' attack and resistance while increasing damage dealt, and reduces damage taken based on the number of bonus effects he has active. Also, if he is equipped with a special that can trigger with his attack, it reduces his special cooldown count before his first attack. But there's more. To help quench his thirst for quintessence, Nergal's weapon can also grant him and his allies within 2 spaces the Essence Drain status, if the HP condition is met. The Essence Drain status grants Nergal's foes bonuses to himself and other allies with the status while neutralizing those bonuses on foes after a combat he made an attack in. If the foe is defeated during combat, anyone with the status also restores some of their HP. C bonus doubler allows Nergal to counter at any distance, and further increases his stats based on the stat bonuses he and his allies close to him have. His B skill special Spiral 4 ensures that his special Glacies triggers more often and increases the pain it inflicts on his target. While Defense Resistance Oath 4 increases his movement options and also increases his defensive stats if his allies are near him. Keep Nergal's hungry minion allies close to him to take full advantage of his stat manipulation abilities. Sucking the energy out from his foes and using it against them can overwhelm even the strongest of warriors. Speaking of Nurgle, one of his creations, his morph, Ursula, has joined us as well. Although we have seen Ursula previously as a cold, magic-wielding assassin devoted to the Black Fang, she ends up dead and has her quintessence harvested for Nergal. Once a ruthless killer without mercy, she is now a morph that is a ruthless killer without mercy. Dead Crow Tome is an exclusive weapon to the Blackened Crow, which decreases her special cooldown at the start of the turn and grants attack and speed bonuses and desperation to her and her nearby allies if the HP condition is met. And if she has full HP at the start of her turn, her special cooldown decreases by 2 instead of 1. It increases Ursula's attack and speed during combat, increases damage dealt, and neutralizes effects that inflict guard, and those that prevent her follow-ups when conditions are met. When she's at full HP, the power of her tome alone ensures that she will be triggering her special Blazing Thunder every turn. Her inheritable A skill, Verge of Death, neutralizes penalties to her attack and speed in addition to panic at the start of either phase, and increases her attack and speed at the cost of her own defense and resistance. Speed Resistance Far Trace 4 helps increase her stat advantage while enabling hit-and-run strikes. And her C skill Defense Resistance Smoke 3 can weaken her foe's defenses before activating Pathfinder to allow her allies to rush in for the slaughter. She may be fragile, but has the ability to unleash terrifying area damage, then go in for an onslaught of successive attacks that her foe is unable to counter. And with the freedom to retreat behind her allies, it will be difficult to touch her. Oh, and be sure not to miss another one of Nergal's morphs making an appearance. Lloyd Vengeful Wolf will also be paying you a visit in a grand hero battle. I guess Nergal just cannot seem to let good dogs lie, eh? Kids, the lesson here is that you really should not overstay your welcome. What is gone is gone. Leave it be, or turn into something like me. If there is, in fact, a next time for all of you, that is all for today, Summoners. Good luck.